don't you talk about the war and about how you got involved in it in the first place? Because there was some point where you made the decision you were going to join the Marine Corps, and we want to know.
Oh yeah.
What?
Well, I tried to get in the Navy Air Corps as a pilot, and I was too big to start with. And I only weighed 198 then. And I was 6'2", a little over. And that just didn't work. So my buddy, he was smaller than that, and they kind of thought of him, but he never got made it either. So I kept fooling around, and I didn't want to get in the Army, so I wouldn't join the Marine Corps. Oh, the folks almost threw up.
Where'd you go to boot camp, Dad?
Pendleton.
Camp Pendleton, right down here.
Oceanside. So they made me an assistant to the first sergeant. So that way, I didn't have to go overseas right away. Then I stayed here with the first sergeant. Then I went to Marine Corps base. I went to Sioux schools. They sent me to schools because I could type and do everything like that, you know. Then they sent me to this transport quartermaster school, which is it's a Marine uniform. I mean, you know, it's done by a Marine, and so.
But it's on a naval vessel.
Yeah. So this first lieutenant was the head guy at the, you know, Marine Corps on that ship. And he got sick every time they hit a wave, you know. Pretty soon they just got rid of him. And they just kept me. So I was the only Marine aboard the ship.
Now what was the name of the ship?
USS Bollinger, 234. It was finished in the first part of 45. And it was a fast one. It went 25 knots. See, what a part of my job, I could figure the combat load as a whole ship. And then I had to figure out all the armament that they were going to use. And like if they had say they had a 37 millimeter gun that was on wheels and didn't have anything to tow it. So I had to figure something to tow it right away, you know, with it. They went off with it and they put them together and away they go. So I had to figure out all that and all the different weights and stuff. When I first got on the ship, they stuck it to me. They put me in the engine room. Jesus, it was so hot at night. Imagine that. And on the South Pacific, I got them to weld my bed in my office. I later got the office because that Marine, they got rid of him, so I was the only Marine they had aboard. And so they welded a bunk in my office. Oh, they were fabulous because they got a fan on the porthole. Oh, and right next door was the officer's mess. And boy, I got buddies with them, and I had sandwiches whenever I wanted or everything. And then, because I was so big, you know, a guy, they'd have a holiday, like holidays, you know, on the ship. They'd have boxing, and they wanted me to box this master at arms, you know. That's the police aboard the ship. His first name was Max, and his last name was Roughcorn. And he was a big blonde guy, and he was bigger than I was. I think he was a little fatter. So
Sorry.
we started a box, and I'd be all over him because somehow I was light on my feet, even though it was heavy. I could do him anytime I wanted. You know, you could get around him real easy because he was too heavy in that to be fast, you know. Anyway, the other deal is for the Marines, my daily thing was khaki. So I wore khaki pants, and I didn't wear anything on top because it was so damn hot. And that was okay. You could do that if you wanted. So when we went in there for the island, I'd loan one of the officers caps. I'd walk up and get a case of beer for me and my buddies. Really, I did many times. It worked fabulous. They thought I was an officer. See? All I had to do was put that cap on. Get the case of beer. And the beer cans were the color of, you know, they like the Army color. They didn't say Coors or anything. It said U.S. military and
The moss green thing, huh?
yeah, they were green, like the color of, you know, that they used on the Army and every place. An APA like I was on, years ago, was built with rivets. And the one I was on was welded. And they considered the welded ones not so good. Oh yeah, that's
Liberty ships.
That's what it reminded me when we were in Japan. I was in a typhoon with this ship. And you know what? The waves were like 30 feet high. And the ship would go up like this, you know? And so, hey, Luke, the screw was out of that water when it got that high. You could hear it.
Oh, scary.
Not having any water against it or anything. Anyway, and when it slammed down, the tables in the mess hall who were trying to drink coffee would jump about this high off the floor.
I can imagine.
That's why they were worried about them cracking in half. So all the guys here were either on one end or the other. They were going to be on one end that was going to be floating. Well, the first place I went in was Iwo Jima. I didn't go in on the day that they started the fighting, but I went in later. We went in there, and all of a sudden, bang! We're getting hit. You know, I don't know if they were 30 caliber or 50 caliber. So we all ducked down. And then somebody said, well, they thought it was the Marines just being smart. They thought it was Navy guys, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Marines and Navy, you know, they fight quite a bit amongst themselves. So anyway, it was kind of wild. The time I was there, right out around Okinawa, these kamikazes were coming, and they were manned by kids that were 14 years old. And what they did, they took all these old planes, and they put just enough gas in them so they could get out there. And they were just loaded with explosives, you know, because that was their last trip. And that's what they did. That was their job.
Because the kids knew they didn't have enough gas.
That was like a guided missile, you know, in actuality.
Yeah.
That was a guided missile. But anyway, if you didn't have a good gun crew on your ship, you were dead, boy. You had to be good. You had to shoot them out of the air completely before they got there, because that's what they were headed for, and there was nothing going to stop them unless you shot them out of the air. So thank God we had a good gun crew. And I used to work to cease firing on a 5-inch and back. And I was on the where the captain was, right up on the top there. Oh, I hated that, because that's where they headed for, near the stack. That's what they really want to hit, because if you hit the stack, you know, where the engine comes out.
Screw up the whole ship.
Yeah, right away, quick, like 6-7 minutes.
Wow.
It can go. Then we went from there to all these different islands. Then the Philippines, we went there. We had to take all the money from southern Mindanao, which was the prison that the Philippines had, but the Japs took it over as their place while they were there. We had to take all the money out of there and put it in a hold, in the hold, and they had everybody that had anything to do with it had a Thompson's 45 sub, because they were worried, you know, people would start stealing the money.
The Japanese had confiscated all this money
Yeah,
from the Philippines, and they had put it at this prison.
in every place that
But
they'd been.
as far as I know, this is like this is an ongoing mystery. As far as I know, that they don't know what happened to this money. This is something that they've been looking for a long
Do you
time.
know what happened to it, Dad?
No, we took it to Kirigator and Bataan, is where we really took it, and unloaded it there.
Wow.
So they did know where it went.
I think that this is really part of an ongoing mystery that people don't know
Well,
about.
that might
Well,
be.
like wars are about stealing.
So you were actually there and unloaded?
Yes, and I had to even be a guard at one point. They used everybody they could.
Well,
So-
why do you think it's a big mystery? Did
Because
you
I've
ever-
seen specials on TV about how they searched for that money at that prison and everything, and they never could find out where it went.
Well, maybe Dad ought to tell them.
Well,
One time, we were going from Okinawa to Hawaii, and then we got the radiogram to pick up. It was going to be a ship coming from this particular part of Japan. They got screwed up. You know, they went in a part of Japan they shouldn't have, and they turned around and started to run, and they opened all the elevators and they had to get the planes out. It was too late. You know, it was just too late. Wham! They hit them, and these guys that were aboard the ship, when we talked to them at Hawaii, they said there was about 1,500 guys on board, that there was only half of them left when they got to Hawaii. And he said, it's 90 feet from the top deck to the water. And he said that they said, the officers said, if you jump, you get court-martialed, and you'd already told them. They jump anyway. And then this particular sword I got at Okinawa,
Dad?
I got this sword at and I think it's lobbed a lot of American heads off because it's all old, you know. All the swords that I've seen were ones that guys, you know, made them look like brand new, you know, or they bought them that way or something. But Okinawa is full of caves, you know, and they used to hide their stuff in it. Well, when the Americans found it out, they thought, well, they'd go in there and find the stuff, you know. And it's full of booby traps. They were smart there. A lot of guys got killed just because of those booby traps.
you're telling the stories about how the Marines would, take the Japs' teeth after they were dead and
Oh
everything.
yeah, they were nuts about gold teeth. they'd hit them in the mouth here with the butt of their gun, knock all their teeth loose, and then they'd pick the guys. They'd have a needle nose pliers, and they were already loose, you know. So when the war was almost over, they came in. Well, when the actual war was over, all these aircraft carriers that were around us, here was these 3D, that's the name of those planes. Anyway, and I was a spotter, and God, I had some binoculars. I could see the guys, if they had mustaches or anything in the plane. That's how good they were. And they were starting to dive on us. Well, I think they were getting loaded. I think they were drinking lightning.
Dive on you.
And yeah, on a ship. See, there were 20-ton booms that are about maybe 20, 30 feet apart, which sounds like a lot, but when you're up in the air, and they were turning sideways and running the wing between the 30, 40 feet. So the captain says, Jesus, they're jeopardizing my ship and all my people, and that's true. So he radioed up to him and told him, the next one's coming down. He's to get manning his 40 pom-poms. There was 4 of them, you know, they boom, 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 they go like that. He said, I'm manning those, and the next guy that comes down with the plane gets it. Oh, hey, there were, I don't know how many guys killed that first day. You know, just acting crazy and
Really?
just like those crazy pilots. Anyway, boy, not a one of them came back. They took his word for it, I guess.